Well, good afternoon. Happy Friday, June 6th. Mark Milam here, your mortgage professional. Let's get right to it. Not the way we want to end the week going into the weekend. Mortgage-backed securities taking it on the chin thanks to a strong, or at least a reportedly strong, non-farm payroll report coming out this morning from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So every 30 days, we put out this NFP report, non-farm payroll, to judge the strength of the labor market. How many jobs did we add in the past 30 days? And we also get the unemployment report from a separate survey. This is called the household survey. Let's talk about the non-farm payroll report first. So you can see here we're down substantially with mortgage-backed securities. That means interest rates are going up. The 10-year is up now to almost 4.5%. Big sell-off on the day. This is because the non-farm payrolls added about 139,000 jobs against an estimate of 130. That's not a really big miss to the high side, but unemployment remains steady at 4.2% as well. Now, you can see headlines kind of like this, that the Dow rallies on 300 points on a strong jobs report. So there's their words there, strong jobs report. This is today at 12:34, this headline coming out. And this is the actual non-farm payroll report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you can see right here, I'm going to blow this up a little bit, 139,000 jobs created in May, unemployment rate unchanged at 4.2%. Now, these reports come out every month, and we get the headline number and the market reacts, and you see headlines like that on CNBC.com, and then everyone freaks out and decides that the labor market's still really strong and mortgage-backed securities sell off, interest rates go up, housing affordability worsens. But these reports are subject to 2 rounds of revisions, and these happen in subsequent months. So we get the revisions for May's non-farm payroll report. Next month, we'll get the first revision, then we'll get the second revision another 30 days later, so 60 days out from now. And by the time we get to the second revision, which by the way is the most accurate number, most everyone has moved on to the new headline number, right? There's a brand new headline number for us to all obsess over, and the market goes through its gyrations as well. So let's take a look at some of these revisions, because this is really important, and it happens all the way down here at the very bottom of the report that no one seems to pay attention to. So the change in the non-farm payroll employment for March, this is our second revision, was revised down by 65,000 jobs to a new total of 120,000 jobs created in March. I'm going to bring in a separate window into our screen because I track this stuff like a nerd, and I want to show this to you. So when March headline printed, we printed 228,000 jobs created in the prior 30 days. When we went through the second round of revisions, we actually only created 120,000 jobs. We subtracted 108,000 jobs that we never did create just from the month of March, right? So this isn't the accurate number. This is the accurate number. But we don't find out the accurate number in March until the first week of June. Let's take a quick look here at April. So April, pardon me, was revised down by 30,000 jobs from 177,000 created to just 147,000 created. Now this is the first round of revisions. We're going to get another round of revision for April next month, but you can see we headline number at 177, we revised down to 147. In fact, every single month so far in 2025, we have revised the headline number down, right? So what makes us think that this 139 number is necessarily an accurate number when it certainly hasn't been accurate January, February, March, or April so far in 2025? That part in and of itself, pretty interesting, but that's not quite as interesting as what else I'm about to tell you here. Let's scroll back up the screen and go back to this 4.2% unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate is determined by something called the household survey, and the actual acronym for it is CPS. It's a survey of about 60,000 households that determines our unemployment rate here in the United States. It happens every single month. We get the results of that survey, and then we report on what unemployment is. But the really interesting thing with this CPS survey is the response rates, and this takes you all the way back to 2013 and all the way now through May of 2025. And you can see that the response rate on this survey is abysmal, especially post-pandemic. We used to have about a 90% response rate on this survey, and now the response rate, as of this past month, is about 67%. So when we say we're sending the survey out to 60,000 households, well, if you're only getting a response rate of 67%, well, that's about 40,000 households, right? for a country of 330 million, right? So we're only getting 40,000 households to help us determine what the unemployment rate is. And if that's not enough to give you cause for concern, let me show you what else is truth. So I'm going to bring up an article from Investors Business Daily this morning that talks about the household survey that determines our unemployment rate of 4.2% for the month of May. Now, what's interesting here is that they'll tell us that the household survey was actually a bit shocking. The ranks of the employed tumbled by 696,000. Employment tumbled by almost 700,000 in the past 30 days. But the number of unemployed persons only rose 71,000. Wait, how can that be? How can the ranks of the employed drop by about 700,000, but we only added unemployment of about 71,000, right? How can that possibly be? Well, there's something called the labor force participation rate that measures every able-bodied person 16 and up in the United States and whether they're in the workforce or not in the workforce, right? Unemployment, it's important to note, unemployment only counts you if you're looking for work. If you're not looking for work, you're not counted as quote unquote unemployed. What happened this past month is that the labor force participation rate, here it is right here, declined sharply for the month of May, right? So we lost people who were looking for work, and thus they're not counted, right? They're not counted in the unemployment rate. In fact, had the labor force participation rate remained the same in May as it was in April, unemployment would have gone from 4.2% to 4.62%, a much different number. We would have the Fed talking about potential Fed rate cut. We certainly wouldn't have seen the bond market sell off, and we certainly wouldn't see the stock market rallying, and we wouldn't have headlines like you see on CNBC talking about this strong labor report. Folks, there's a lot of weakness in this labor data that's not getting reported, and unfortunately, it's taking a toll on bonds, which is taking a toll on mortgage rates, which is taking a toll on home ownership affordability. If I can be of any service to you over the weekend, don't hesitate to reach out, mark.milam@highlandmtg.com.